So, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Open Agenda. This is a podcast where facts meet action and civic tech gets personal. And my kitty Boaz is here with us today. Sorry about that. He just wants to be part of this conversation. And today we're going to dive into a breach that has hit close to home. Colorado's emergency alert system was compromised last month in November, and it exposed thousands of residents' personal data. But this just isn't a tech failure. It's a wake-up call about who we trust with our most sensitive information and what happens when AI, private security, and public infrastructure collide. And one of the counties here in Colorado that was affected is Weld County, and I was a subscriber to this emergency alert system. And I think that we all need to pay attention to what is going on. So anyway, I do want to welcome Chris Smith of Colorado Computer Doctors. He is a guru, let's say, in tech, all things tech, AI. He's a friend and consultant that I've worked with for many years. And I will let him take the lead right now and let him talk a little bit about who he is and how pleased he is to be with us. There you go.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you very much for inviting me. So yes, as Tracy said, my name's Chris Smith, and I've been in IT more than 3/4 of my life. And I started a small managed IT services company about 15 years ago and have been focused on providing enterprise-grade IT management, data management, cybersecurity services for the little guy, very small businesses, residential customers, segment of the population that's usually left out in the cold from some of the big tech offerings in security and data management. My company purchased Computer Doctors about 3 years ago to expand the offerings we can provide to our current client base, as well as to market our services to the general public. And so that's the 50,000-foot view level.
Nice. That's a good place to be in this day and age, I think, and helping us muddle through some of this information that we're going to be talking about today. And this attack wasn't just a simple outage. It was a targeted attack by an organized cyber criminal group, and we'll get into who they've determined that group is. But Lynn, maybe you can talk a little bit about what the impact of this was and the counties here in Colorado that were affected by this cybersecurity breach.
You bet. Because the impact was immediate and widespread among many of our local governments. At least 6 major counties in the area were affected: Douglas, Aurora, Weld, Grand, Park, and the city of Thornton. These reported disruptions rely on CodeRED for critical alerts. These are evacuation notices, severe weather, or even active shooters. These types of warnings have been disabled.
Or the data loss was significant and it compromised information, including personally identifiable data like your name, your address, your email address, your phone number, your username, your passwords. And to tell you the truth, even though I was a subscriber and live in Weld County, I still have not been notified officially that there was a breach. And I think it's fair to say, too, that it was almost 2 weeks before Weld County was even notified about what information was compromised. So there's some information missing along the system lines, I think. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, it turns out that this is more CodeRED. There seems they weren't really doing their jobs. There was, in some databases, there was as much as 2 years worth of new subscriber data missing.
Really?
Yep. And that is, in this day and age, is entirely unacceptable, especially for a company that's serving or representing a government organization. So all that data, all that recently collected data from new subscribers because of the ransomware attack by Inc. Ransom was completely lost, and they couldn't provide it. And they took 2 weeks to let anybody know about it, or at least Will County. So they completely mismanaged the entire situation. And for good reason, a lot of offices are pulling the plug on doing business with OnSolve.
Right. And OnSolve is the owning company of CodeRED. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They were started back in 1998, I believe. So they are very much indeed legacy technology. And it is ripe for replacement for sure. The interesting thing is the corporate structure that I found when looking deeper into this. OnSolve was actually owned by Crisis 24 as of, I believe, September 2024. And Crisis 24 is a subsidiary product company of GardaWorld, which has been around for a little over 20 years. It's a Canadian cybersecurity, security on the ground cash management company. And they're in every continent. And let's see, Crisis 24 for the past, I think about a year or so, have been employing one of Palantir's products, AI, which handles data collection, data integration with other systems.
Yeah, let's dive a little bit deeper into that AIIA. I thought it was very interesting. And I think that
Fascinating.
our citizens need to have their antennas up on this. So if you want to, this diagram just shows you everybody involved. And not everybody, but on the surface who is involved, I think. So if you want to go ahead and jump into that AIIA with us, Chris.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm in learning mode here.
Oh, sure. Let me start with what problem it addresses. So the problem with all these companies that are trying to bring together is being able to analyze huge volumes of data that's traditionally segregated between organizations. So, for example, Loveland's police department database may not necessarily talk to Fort Collins police database, and those databases might not talk to Health and Human Services databases or county
It's
tax.
national, not just Colorado, too.
This is just a small example. This is all across the board, all across the world, actually. And so these companies are being brought in to collect and analyze and cross-reference and integrate data from formerly completely separate, siloed, as they call it, databases so that they can then provide analytics from a very high level on consistencies between the data, and then on top of that, applying artificial intelligence to being able to dive in and provide insights at even greater
Do we
level.
have any privacy left these days?
I think that left decades ago, honestly. So AI, I forget the exact acronym, something
I'll see if it's fine. Okay.
participatory intelligence or something or other. But it's basically government-style intelligence information gathering and
Yes, anticipatory intelligence for action is what that stands for.
got it. And so it's marketed as a head of state level intelligence technology that's being applied to smaller government agencies and the private sector as well. And I believe it's based on a Palantir technology called Foundry, which is primarily promoted to the private sector. And what they do, without getting into the nitty gritty, to be perfectly honest, a lot of this is a little bit above my head, is they analyze data from different organizations, combine that data without actually affecting the data of each of the organizations. So it's still very segmented and compartmentalized, but at a higher level, the software is able to peek into one database, find consistencies and links and clues or whatnot from other databases and bring together insights for strategic management, planning, incident response, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the private strategic group, the PSG, everything has an acronym anymore, doesn't it?
Mhm.
And yeah,
But this breach that we recently had is bringing all this together. I think, even though if you do the research using ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever search engine that you use, they don't pull together the Palantir option or what is happening with Palantir in the surveillance system, in these CodeRED, in this data collection that they're doing against, I shouldn't say against, but the data collection that they are providing for these entities, our policemen or whoever it may be, immigration office, health and human services, all of it. What are your thoughts on, I know that Arapahoe County is looking into a program called RAVE that will replace this emergency, the service option that just got hacked. But some of the counties have not made a decision, and that technology departments are looking at Palantir to assist them in collaborating and getting that information. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
.rave?
Yeah, we can talk RAVE first, and then maybe Palantir and how that is going to perhaps affect the people in Colorado if they use that system.
Rave, I don't know as much about Rave as I do about Palantir, but Rave is Rave Mobile Safety. It's a company that provides somewhat more traditional digital analysis of 911 call centers, public safety organizations, colleges and schools, certain government agencies for the most part. And they use a system called FedRAMP.
What is it called? I'm sorry.
FedRAMP, acronym. Capital FED, capitals RAMP. RAVE Alert Management Platform or something along those lines. That's what it's called. And that allows for some information sharing between organizations relevant to emergency notifications, sharing residential data between organizations, not necessarily to find patterns per se, but more for more efficient management of data. Do not think they're very heavy in AI. And as I'm sure you both and most people that are watching this podcast are aware, everything is going AI just in the past couple of years. And so that's where Palantir swoops in, I think, because they're from the ground up, they're pretty much an AI-based security company. Data collection and analytics for security purposes. So I don't know about whether or not Rave is, they're competing on a different platform than what Crisis 24 and GardaWorld are.
How long do you think it'll be until all of these systems combine into one? Or is it here?
We still have a free market system. It's getting more and more fascist or socialist, so to speak, with government and private entities commingling with each other more and more. I think it's going to be a while. It reminds me of a joke from a comedian that his name escapes me, back in the 90s, where he said, you got one company taking over another company and governments are getting involved with corporations and vice versa. And eventually we're going to live in a world where you forgot to pay your gas bill when they tow your car. And it does seem that we're moving in that direction for sure. I don't know that we'll actually see it in our lifetimes. I think we're more likely going to see a handful of enormous companies that all have incestuous relationships with each other and government agencies handling different aspects of society. I don't think it's going to be one big company.
Yeah, probably not. And it will be competitive, I'm sure. So we did find out yesterday who did the actual breach into the system. Lynn, did you want to talk about that? It was Inc. Ransom, the Inc. Ransom group.
Yeah, and really it is a pretty well-known organization that literally is efficient at stealing data from large entities and large data systems. And they literally threaten to
Sell the data.
share all of this information, or you have to pay us money. And I'm wondering if they share the information even if they do get paid. So I don't know how anyone can really track that, but it's called INC Ransom, and it's called a gang. And they literally claimed responsibility for the attack. So they created an entry for OnSolve in the data leak site and published screenshots of what appear to be stolen customer data, including clear text passwords. It targeted and damaged the legacy OnSolve CodeRED environment, forcing Crisis 24 to permanently decommission it. And the stolen data does include contact information of, again, users' names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, and passwords that were used to create their profiles for alerts.
I think one thing that we need to consider, especially being December, I mean, it does seem that phishing scams are so prevalent during this time of year. And add this to it where your information may have been compromised, at least some of us in Colorado. And I don't know about throughout the United States if this affected other states or not. I really didn't go down that rabbit hole or not, but it was concerning enough that this happened in our state, our wonderful state of Colorado. And so I think that everybody needs to be on high alert for these phishing scams with this breach that we've had. Although here in northern Colorado, I don't think Larimer County was involved, but Weld County
No,
definitely was, in the Denver metro area as well.
Is
So,
CodeRED, is that a system that's used nationally? Or is it just in these few counties in Colorado?
It was in use by about 3,000 different organizations from municipal up to the federal level across the country.
Okay. And so it's gone for everyone that was using it then. Is that accurate? Is
That's
that
what's
what you're...
reported. That's what's reported.
Okay.
And
the counties that were affected here in Colorado, they really haven't made a decision who's going to replace the code red. So let's hope there's no false flags that we need to be alerted about something.
indeed.
What about Palantir? What is Palantir's presence in Colorado? Do you have a clear understanding? Do they have actual data centers here, or is it more of an administrative presence they have?
I have heard or read that, and it depends on which chat agent that you use, what kind of information that you're going to get back. Some of them had said that the data center is located. They have a data center here in Colorado, and they also have one in Texas. And then another research brought up that they only had administrative offices in Denver and Castle Rock in Colorado. So that is something that I can't verify one way or another, but they have a presence in Colorado in one way or another. And just the fact that some of these counties are considering, their technology departments are considering utilizing the Palantir platform to hold data, I think is a little bit concerning. And Chris, you may want to talk, we were talking before we got online about the trouble that Palantir had gotten into a few years ago. What was it, in Georgia?
I think I was in New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
And basically, they were experimenting with the effectiveness of combining databases from different systems that hadn't given their consent and using that to do predictive analysis, which is the scary part, on individuals with criminal records in order to predict their behavior.
That's
So that's the 10,000 foot level.
I liked your reference earlier to the Minority Report movie. If people that are watching remember that movie, where they were showing, they could somehow have computer equipment showing people committing crimes before they were committed. So people were arrested before they did anything wrong. Excuse me for a moment.
And that was where that kind of study, that kind of experimentation research that they were doing would likely lead. And that's very concerning.
And today, I think, the key takeaway here is that the operational failure occurred on that legacy platform of OnSolve and Crisis 24. And we need to make sure that we follow what type of system is going to replace the code or Crisis 24 OnSolve. I think that this data information needs to be followed by the citizens here just to keep our government in line. And we need to find out or watch and follow who the new alert system is going to be and how residents can sign up or re-sign up for the new platform. And I guess and follow the backup channels. Like today, we got a really big snow. They may have had some alerts out. I don't know, but they have things on the local news and social media. And I guess those are places that they are using during this transition.
What I think is just with the lack of, there's no one talking about this. It's not in the news in Colorado or anywhere. And so trying to stay aware could be a little challenging.
Good point.
I think it's good to be looking at so people are aware. Things to look for are what's going on with Palantir, what is going on with Garda, who is a majority. Its founder is a fellow named Stefan Crétier.
A little French, maybe.
He's got a little accent on his name, so I'm trying to make it look French or sound
Good.
French.
He's from Quebec.
Quebec. Okay, so he is French.
Rich Canadian. Yeah.
And private equity firms and financial stakeholders can influence these kind of strategic decisions. So even though they aren't directly responsible for the day-to-day management or the cybersecurity, so yeah, we have to find every way we can to be paying attention and looking for publications that are talking about this and who is making the decisions about what needs to be, where we need to go next.
And I think we're all, Chris and Lynn and I are going to be watching it really closely. Follow us so that we can give you updates on what's going on. We'd like to know if you all are interested in this. And Chris, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here with this?
Responsibility is always going to fall on the people. And that's always been, we're waxing into politics now. Yeah. First off, as far as the security of the data, you and you alone are responsible for your data. As much as government agencies, big tech companies are constantly trying to get us to offer up our data voluntarily, we don't really have to.
It's a good point.
Tracy, you're a good case study. You said you were a member of that Weld County notification system. It's important to know those things, but there's other ways to know what you would have known. And then I'm not pointing fingers at you or anything. I'm just putting a little bit of a spotlight on you.
That's okay. I'm not on social media. I don't go to Facebook. And so that's my way of getting notified. I was notified a month ago that there was a large police presence in our small little, wonderful little community, and to stay inside and lock our doors. And this is at midnight. When I liked having that alert system. You're right, Chris. We are responsible for our own data.
On the other side, though, all of us are so heavily involved with, each of us are involved with dozens, or if not hundreds of online systems in the way we do our work and we communicate with social media. All of our information is already out there. It's already on the dark web, which is, depending on how you look at it, is scary, but it's also comforting at the same point because it's already out there. You're not going to do anything about it. The best thing you can do is protect yourself. And as far as computers go, for my industry, that really boils down to what you're willing to fall for, what you're going to click on or not click on the internet, what email attachments you're going to download. How careful are you policing your own behavior using these digital systems? Getting a little bit away from your question, but
Oh, no.
Let me pull it back. In political world, you hear the same thing over and over again. The people run the country, we the people. And if we really want to make significant changes in our local governments, state governments, federal governments, we have to be involved. It's if any of us have time for that. That's the real crux of the problem. If we really want to make significant changes, us as individuals have to collectively move together in order to make these changes.
And that's one reason why Len and I started this small little channel. It's done very well. I'd like to have more subscribers and additionally people that follow us. And after having people like Chris on, it's going to be a lot of information, and it's helpful for the communities out there to have a channel to go to where they can trust the information. We try to just go with the facts. That's open agenda. WTF. The WTF stands for with the facts. And that's where we're at. It's, for me, it's out of my norm, comfort zone to be political or to follow some of these things. But Chris, you are right. We're going to have to be involved in order to have a community and a state that we enjoy living in, because there's power and governments and people love power. The more power they get, the more power they want. And your final thoughts, Lynn?
I just think it's interesting that there is already a lot of government integration, that we have to really focus on transparency and oversight. Like you're saying, we need to be involved. We need to have awareness. And there's a description here. You could think of this situation like a small town fire department hiring a huge multinational security company to manage their fire alarms. But when the alarm system fails and the personal contact lists are stolen, the town realizes that their safety relies not just on fire response, but on this global financial and technical ecosystem of the contractor. So the contractor fixes the alarms, but it forces the town to ask, does AI power help put out fires? Or does it just gather too much information about the individuals that it's supposed to be protecting? And we need fire alarms, but we need fire trucks. We need
Firemen
on the ground. We need firemen and
and women.
people.
Yes.
That's us.
Yeah, that's right. So what do we say now, Lynn?
What we say is be paying attention or somebody else is going to be writing the rules. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
We
thanks a
appreciate
lot.
it.
And Chris, I appreciate your being here, and hopefully you can come back for more.
Love to. Look at
Oh,
this.
Thank you.
we would definitely
Excellent.
like that. Thank you so much.
All right. Subscribe, make comments. Let us know if more about this particular information or if you have other items you'd like to know more about. We're great researchers here.
Yes, we are, in our spare time.
In our spare time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.